St. Michael's Cathedral in Kyiv, destroyed by the Soviets in the 1930s, was rebuilt to its original glory from centuries ago after Ukraine gained independence in 1991. Many of those who pray here say they support Ukrainian independence and mistrust Russia. Among them is Andriy, an attorney and Greek Catholic from Western Ukraine. He says he feels comfortable in an Orthodox Church of the Kyiv Patriarchate, but not of Moscow.
Moscow Patriarchate я сприймаю виключно як організацію, яка
I view the Moscow Patriarchate as an organization whose functions are definitely not religious. It is a branch of the Russian state, and all anti-Ukrainian actions in Ukraine are supported by the Moscow Patriarchate of the Ukrainian Orthodox Church.
The spokesman for Moscow's Patriarchate in Kyiv, Archimandrite Kirill Hovorun, says church leaders are aware of such concerns. Hovorun adds his church wants to unite a nation dangerously divided between pro-Ukrainian and pro-Russian forces.
We are seeking to implement a policy, if we can talk about church policy, in a way that does not aggravate either side, and not to just passively take care of these people, but to unite them into a single people, East and West, so that they feel themselves as a part of a common whole, a large project, and large civilization that is Ukraine.
Hovorun says millions of people who belong to Ukraine's Moscow Patriarchate are good Ukrainians who should not be viewed as Russia's surrogates. Nadezhda, an Eastern Ukrainian travel agent, attends services in churches that recognize Moscow.
The
church was handed down to us for generations through our parents, so I do not see any reason to change anything. After all, it represents the union of two fraternal peoples, Russians and Ukrainians, and I see no need to split. I forgot to mention the Belarusians as well. I think the church unites us and there is no reason to part. There is one God.
Officials in the Kyiv Patriarchate acknowledge efforts by some in the Moscow Patriarchate to create a separate Ukrainian church. But Bishop Yevstrati of the Kyiv Patriarchate says their church must be independent of Russia.
If a church is located in one nation, but its leadership is situated in another, especially if relations between those two countries happen not to be simple, then it becomes very difficult to overcome the temptation to use church structures of the neighboring state for political ends, which is what we see in Ukraine.
Many Ukrainians note that the headquarters of the Moscow Patriarchate in Kyiv is located on Ivan Mazepa Street, which is named after an 18th century Ukrainian leader who built many of the churches in this ancient complex. Mazepa's image is also on a Ukrainian currency note. But in Russia, the term traitor Mazepa remains common, and the Russian Orthodox Church excommunicated him for violating a loyalty oath to Tsar Peter the Great in 1709. Orthodox officials in Ukraine say the Russian Church has not responded to their requests for Mazepa's reinstatement. Peter Fedynsky, VOA News, Kyiv.